All right, good morning everyone. You're gonna have to bear with me. I'm running all this solo, so I'll be moving back and forth with the camera. I'm doing a video today on friction calls. Most people know, slate calls. You've got different calling services, whether it's copper, brass, aluminum, glass, crystal, ceramic. There's a whole bunch of them. But a lot of people, especially new hunters, and some older hunters, hopefully I can teach you something that you didn't know already. So on a friction call, what you're going to have is you're going to have a calling surface inside a pot call, and you're going to have sound holes on the back, and then in the center of the call, well, I won't say center, but you'll have a pedestal sticks up however far that call maker does it, and then they put a soundboard in it, so that when you rub your striker across the calling surface, what you get is the sound is produced by going through the call from the calling surface, and it resonates off of that soundboard, bounces back up, and then comes around and then out your sound holes. So if you're holding the call tight to your hand, it's going to be a more muffled sound, where if you hold it further off your hand, it'll be a higher note and a little bit crisper. The one thing that I want to show a lot of people that don't realize this, now especially if you bought a custom call, you spent some pretty good money. If you go to Walmart and buy, whatever off their shelf for 20 bucks, a lot of people consider those disposable calls. I don't consider that a disposable call. So what I want to show you is a way to get more life out of your call. Conditioning your call is extremely important. If you just grab this call and start running it, it'll make a sound, and it'll make good sounds, but it won't do it consistently. So what I mean by conditioning the call is you take an abrasive, which on slate, aluminum, copper, and brass, I use green Scotch-Brite. You can get that at the grocery store in the cleaning section where the sponges are. Comes in 3 packs, and I just cut them up and keep them in my vest. On glass, crystal, ceramic, things like that, I use 150 grit sandpaper. So when I'm at the shows and I have people come up into the booth and I watch them. The first thing they do is they'll grab whatever I hand them, because I'm not going to allow somebody to just come up and grab one of my calls and start tearing into it. But they'll rub back and forth. Well, here's what's happening. This is an abrasive. That means it's cutting away material on your call surface as you push it and pull it. So yes, that works to an extent, but the problem is you're going to have to condition that call a lot more frequently, because what's happening is when you take this abrasive and put it on the call surface and you push it forward, you have cut material away from the calling surface. That cut material builds up in your abrasive. So if you push it and then pull it right back, you're taking some of the abrasive that you cut away and pushing it back down into those grooves that you just cut out on your calling surface with your abrasive. So what I tell people to do is I want you to take that abrasive and start at one spot and just push, and then pick it up and come back and push, and keep doing that until you get it conditioned to where you want it. You can either blow off the excess or you can wipe it off on your clothing. On the striker, same thing. On the striker tip, you can take the abrasive, or take your whatever you're using, whether it's sandpaper or whatever, and go back and forth, and that will condition your striker. Another thing that I do, and I don't recommend you do it to your truck, I'd go to your friend's truck, and you take that striker on the window and just bear down and get it at different angles until you burnish the entire edge of the striker. That allows the striker to run a little bit cleaner on your calling surface, and it doesn't allow buildup. Specifically on copper and brass, you will see over a period of time that you get a lot of that buildup on your striker. So that's why I like to burnish it on glass. I've got, well, you can't see my bench right now, but I've got a piece of glass on the bench top that I do that with on my strikers. Now I don't do it on every striker that I send out because that's just too much work. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, you know, whatever. So manipulating this call, I hold it further off, okay, extend it out off my hand. And what I do is you hold your striker like you would a writing utensil, a pencil or a pen, you know, unless you're from Alabama and you write like this. I hold it like this. Then I go one step further. And running, you can run the call this way. Well, I can't even do it anymore, but now, here's where I'm going to show you a little secret that I do. And it's not much of a secret. I see other callers do it as well. But if you're holding that striker like this, I want you to extend your index finger out. Just like that. All right. So I can hold the call or the striker in this manner. And what that allows me to do is I can manipulate the striker and change the pitch of the call just by what I'm doing with my thumb. So if I want a low pitch on a call, I hold it loosely. So you'll get, all right. If I want a higher pitch, I press with my thumb into the striker, and that's going to give me a higher pitch. So holding it loosely, now putting pressure on it. All right, now, congratulations, you no longer have to look at my face. So what I'm going to show you on the call, so like I said, I hold it here. I've got my striker, and then I take that groove of my palm. I don't know if I can show you that or not. I'm retarded with the camera. Anyhow, I put that groove of my palm right on the lip of the call. All right, now my hand is not rolling over and touching the surface. By the way, do not take your fingers, and you've got oils in your hand and your fingers. If you get that on your calling surface, you're going to have a lot of work to do, especially on the slate call. Slate will hold the moisture, and especially the oils, and it will create slick spots and dead spots in your call, and you've got to do a lot of work to get them clean. So do not put your fingers on them. And that goes for any calling surface. The metal surfaces are easier to clean because, I lied, you can use alcohol to clean your calling surfaces on your metals, and it'll get it real quick cleaned off. Now, congratulations, we're back. So, going to the call, like I said, I will take my hand and put it right here. Now, when you are making the sound, a hen yelp goes from a high to a low note. So you get a high note and then a low note on her yelp. Yelp! Yelp! All right. So the way to get that, on the outside edge of the call, this is where the call is glued, or the calling surface is glued down. There's a lip inside the pot, and that is going to be your highest pitch. All right. Your lower pitch is going to be towards the center of the call. Higher. Lower. So what I do, I don't care if I'm cutting, purring, yelping. The only thing that I change is when I kiki on a pot call, and I do every bit of that on the outside edge of the calling surface, and I press down real hard on the striker, and I lift it straight up and down. And just run it straight side to side. So what I see a lot of hunters doing is they're kind of cheating themselves on the call. What happens is, what I see a lot of them doing is they run this call from side to side. So they're going. So if you'll hear, it's just a monotone note. There's no rollover. Where you get the rollover is coming from the outside edge to the inside. When I do it, you can see how I've got the striker oriented to the calling surface. It's not straight up and down. It's at an angle. And when I'm doing it, I never pick my striker up from the calling surface. It's just one I keep the striker down on the surface, and I am making a little oval. So going from the outside to the inside, it's going to make a noise, and then as you bring it back up, no noise. See? So when I run my yelps, and you should be able to see it on the call, you can see the little oval in the spot. So as I'm doing my yelps, you can see, you can hear the rollover. The rollover is going from the high to the low note. All right. Now for a cut, same thing. I'm still not picking the call up. But I'm not doing the oval. I'm just bringing the striker from the outside to the inside. The purr is going to be the same thing, where you just drag it. Now, on my purrs, I get an extra note out of it by making a J shape with the striker. So I bring it down and then bring it right back up. Now I'm changing the pitch again by doing putting pressure with my thumb on the striker. So now in my vest, I've got a copper call, I've got an aluminum over slate, I've got a slate call, and there's something else. I think it's a junky ceramic. I hate ceramic. I carry it only because you can run it while it's wet. I don't like the sound of them, but people buy them. Hey, I'll build whatever they want. So that one doesn't get used a whole lot. Copper. If you have never heard or ran a copper call, I explain to people what you're going to get is when when you run a copper call, I want you to imagine you are talking to an 80-year-old chain-smoking alcoholic prostitute. You're not going to find anything raspier than that. And that's what you're going to get out of a frying pan copper. It's an ugly note, and I have a lot of success with that call. So it doesn't matter if it's aluminum, copper, whatever. I make the same notes the same way on every friction call that I use. It's a small oval to get your yelps, and then it's just pulling from the inside to or outside to inside for your cuts, and then the purrs just dragging your striker along the top of the surface. All right, so I hope I've given you some pointers that will help. Get a good call, and I don't use the stuff from Walmart only because I've been building my own for so long. I started out with a Lynch box. Love that thing. Killed birds with it. That's actually what got me started into making calls, because I ran the dang thing over in my truck. Never said I was smart. So, like I said, I hope this helps, and hope y'all have good luck for this season. I start youth season Saturday, and hopefully I'll have a good video to put up Saturday afternoon.